Hello, guys! Today we are going to read Chapter 3 of A Night Without Stars by James Howe. Here we go. Entering DeWitt Hospital was like trying to squeeze into last summer's bathing suit after you've grown during the year. Whoever designed the place seemed to have forgotten when he got to the narrow doorway that on one side was New York, a very big city full of people needing to get in, and on the other, the DeWitt Hospital, a very big place full of people wanting to get out. Going in either direction, you had to scrunch yourself up in order to avoid being crushed. At least you did if you were Maria's size. Paging Dr. Colby. Dr. Colby, pick up 4871, please. Dr. Colby, 4871. Bells rang, elevator lights flashed, voices shook and quivered, and the stifling summer air gave way in a burst of air-conditioning chaos. Code 6. A code 6 on 5 North. Code 6 on 5 North. Carlo's suitcase, swaying in his hand, was on one side of her. Her mother was on the other. They stopped to ask the guard where the admitting office was, turning in the direction of his arrowed hand. Bells and more bells rang. Dr. Whaling? Paging Dr. Birch Whaling. "Hey, Maria!" said Carlo. Carlo said, "That's your doctor." "Yeah, I know," Maria mumbled. Big deal, she thought. What did Carlo think? That just because his doctor's name was being said over the loudspeaker, he was famous or something? Maria sighed. Why was she feeling so nasty towards Carlo? It wasn't his fault that she was here. It was no one's fault, she told herself. It's no one's fault. Pick up 4858. Dr. Whaling, 4858. Maria looked down at her feet as they moved along the corridor. There were fewer people here than in the main waiting room. As the voices receded behind her, she could hear the squeaking of her rubber soles on the marble floor. She glanced to one side and noticed a water fountain. She was thirsty, but didn't want to stop to drink. Who knew what diseases she could catch drinking the water fountain from the hospital? She was thirsty, but didn't stop to drink. Who knew what diseases you could catch drinking from a hospital water fountain? There we go. On the other side of the hall, she saw a door with a wooden bottom and a glass top. Admitting. It said in big gold letters on the glass part. Carlo opened it and they went in. The lady behind the desk asked Maria's mother a lot of questions, mostly about how they were going to pay. Miss Tyrone didn't answer with words. Instead, she pulled out a few cards in front of the lady, who copied some numbers and then gave it back to them. That seemed to be an answer enough. Then the lady, who was big and puffy and didn't seem to have a name, put a plastic bracelet on Maria's wrist and told her mother that they should go wait over there. Over there was a part of the room with a red plastic couches, green plastic plants, and a round glass with a chrome table covered with magazines for grown-ups. Maria looked for something to read, but the only thing for kids that she could find was Richie Rich comic. It was being read at the moment by an old man who was whistling as he breathed. Maria wasn't sure why such an old guy would be reading Richie Rich. But she figured he was enjoying himself because every once in a while he'd let out a little wheeze chuckle, and he'd sigh and whistle and very slowly turn the page. So she decided she'd have to find something else to pass the time. Maybe she'd get Carlo to play hangman with her. She liked that game. It was her special favorite. It was a special favorite during social studies class when she and Tina needed anything to starve off death from boredom. Before she had a chance to think about it much more, however, she felt a hand on her shoulder and heard a voice say, "Maria." Startled, she looked up to see a woman's eyes peering over the top of tiny black-rimmed glasses perched at the end of her tiny nose. A woman appeared to be about 50. Her perfect lipstick lips parted to speak. "Are you Maria Tyrone?" "Yes, I thought so, Miss Farewell. If you and your mother and Carlo," Carlo said. I'm her brother. Yes. Miss Farewell straightened to her full height and tugged at her pink smock, clutching a file folder to her chest. If you and your mother and your brother will follow me, please, I'll take you to your room. Walking back to the noisy main waiting room, Maria couldn't help wishing that someone other than Miss Farrell was taking her to her room. She was such a cold fish. She hadn't said 2 words the whole way to the elevator. Maria looked up at the file folder Miss Farrell held firmly against her body. She guarded it like it was top secret or something. What's in the folder? Maria looked down, or Miss Farrell looked down. She seemed surprised at that someone spoke to her. This is your health records, she answered tightly, after a moment's pause. Oh, Maria said, and then she added, I used to call them vanilla folders. I beg your pardon? You know, vanilla folders. What's my health record is in? Yeah, they're really called manila folders, I know, but the first time I heard my teacher say it, I thought she said vanilla. That's why I call them vanilla folders. Miss Farrell looked blankly at Maria. Oh, I see, she said after a moment. Yes, I get it. They stood before a row of elevators. Maria wished one would hurry up and come. When it did, she stepped in, only to be quickly squashed in between Carlo and her mother. Her face was pressed up against Miss Farrell's smock. She hated being crammed into the elevator like this. It reminded her of the last time that she was in a hospital, riding on a stretcher bed to the cardiac catheterization lab, staring up at the elevator ceiling, people pressing in around her. She felt frightened, hot, and alone. The rubbery smell she'd gotten off the elevator had sickened her. She'd forgotten all about that smell until now. Now she remembered, too, the pain that she felt after the test, and the throwing up, and the stiffness in her neck, or not her neck, her leg, that had lasted for days. And the nurse, some of them had been okay, but there was one, Gotta-Lotta. She had a nickname because she said Gotta-Lotta all the time because she really did have a lot of fat. That is. Oh, please, God, Maria thought, don't let Gotta-Lotta be here this time. I don't like her, God. I know it's not nice, but I don't. And with a ping, the elevator door opened. This is us, Miss Farrell said. 7th floor peds. Huh? Carlo asked. Peds, pediatrics, the children's floor. Oh. Maria looked around. She didn't immediately recognize any of the nurses. Miss Farrell called down the hall. Miss Fielding, Darlene, dear. Yes'm? Come back Yes'm came back from a disembodied voice. New admission for you. All right, I'm coming. A large mass of weight rounded the corner and lumbered down the hall towards them. Well, Miss Fielding said, taking the folder from Miss Farrell. Look who's here, Maria Angelina Tyrone. You got a lot of name there, Chill. Ain't that the truth, Maria groaned. What's the matter, dear? You feeling ill? Miss Farrell asked. Oh, no, I'm okay. Maria smiled a kind of sickly smile as she looked up. It had to be. It was. Miss Fielding was just a code name for the one and the only Gotta-Lotta. Maria Angelina Tyrone. That's a pretty name. Thank you, sir. The plump young doctor glanced up from where he sat at the end of Maria's bed, one leg tucked under him in efforts to appear casual. The clipboard teetered on a chubby thigh. You don't have to call me sir, he said. My name is Dr. Landra, but you can call me Bob. Yes, sir, Maria replied. She wasn't going to call him Bob. She knew that. And he was a doctor, after all. Even if he didn't look much like one, He had this shock of frizzy hair that made him look like he had just stuck his finger in a wall socket. The cherub features around his pink and innocent distinguished his face, making Maria think that without his wide-rimmed glasses and day-old growth of whiskers, he'd closely resemble Anna. Particularly now, with his brow furrowed the way it was, and his cheeks all puffed out in intense concentration. He reminded her of Anna straddling her potty, determined to master the finer points of toilet training. Everything he wore was white and dirty. A dirty white shirt, a dirty white jacket with a black stethoscope dangling from a pocket, dirty white pants, dirty, very dirty white socks, dirty white... Maria could hardly believe her eyes. And clogs? She had never seen a doctor wear clogs before. Although she thought it was kind of neat, she'd also wonder if there was something wrong with them. She shifted her gaze to the right to check out her mother's reaction. The word hippie particularly flashed like neon signs in Miss Tyrone's eyes. But she said nothing. She sat there smiling, her head tilted slightly to one side. The smile, tight and expectant, seemed a conscious effort of her mother's part to mask the look of fear and concern elsewhere on her face. Maria looked closely, cautiously. Was her mother afraid? So, Maria, you're 11, huh? Yes, sir, Dr. Landra. And you have 2 brothers, Carlo, 19, Joseph, 13, and a sister, Anna, 19 months? Uh-huh. Your mother, Louisa, is a housewife, and your dad, Angelo, I guess that's where the Angela comes from, huh? Yes, sir. Is a subway conductor. That must be a pretty interesting job. I guess so. To be honest, Maria had never thought much about whether her father's job was interesting or not. He'd never talked about it after all, and she didn't know what to think. Just then, another person in a white jacket came into the room. He was young, too, maybe even younger than Dr. Landra. Maria quickly checked out his feet. No clogs. Sandals? She wondered if the doctor didn't get to wear regular shoes until they had some type of seniority or something. Hey, Bob, what's going on? The new arrival took to everyone at a glance. He slapped Bob lightly on the back. Dr. Landra lurched forward. His clipboard tumbled off into a pudgy perch onto the bed. Annoyed, he started to say something, but the new guy beat him to it. They wrote Italian words here, and then they have descriptions at the bottom, so I'm going to read what the Italian words translate to. It says, "Hello, friend. How's it going?" he said to Carlo. Okay, Carlo replied, raising. "Hello, little one." That's also in Italian there. He said to Maria then, although she didn't understand him, because it's Italian. Maria blushed. "Your daughter's very pretty." His eyes twinkled as he spoke to Miss Tyrone. She smiled openly in response. Her fears seemed to vanish. Now this was a doctor, a real TV doctor. "I'm Tony Francati. I'm from the Bronx. Where you folks are from?" "We have a house in Queens," Miss Tyrone answered. Hey, a house in Queens? That's all right." Tony Francata shook his hand in the air and nodded his head, a gesture that said, "Money, I'm impressed." Miss Tyrone couldn't have asked for a better reaction. She loved telling people she owned a house. "Dr. Francata," Maria's mother said then. Tony replied, leaning forward. He almost whispered, "I'm not a doctor. Not yet, anyways. I'm a medical student." "Oh, I understand," Miss Tyrone said, her voice full of sympathy for what Maria wasn't sure. But maybe that explained the feet. Sandals must be for the medical students. Some more Italian words here that translates, You've got no worries. Tony is here," Tony said to Maria then, cupping her chin in his hands. She wished she knew what he was saying, but Italian was grandparents' language, and a little bit her parents', not hers. Still, she felt safe with Tony. She was certain he was one person who would look out for her. "Hey, Tony, do you mind?" Dr. Landra said, shaking his head, his voice a little squeaky now. Maria noticed, "I'm taking a history here. Now pay attention, and maybe you'll learn something." "Right, you're the doctor." Tony shot back with his wicked smile and with an ease of a wink at Maria. Suddenly, she didn't feel so safe. He seemed to be making fun of Dr. Landra in a way that reminded her of Bobby Tyrone, this kid in her class who was always goofing off. Sometimes Bobby was funny, that was true. She laughed at silly things that he did, but there were other times he kind of seemed kind of pathetic. Like he did everything just to get attention. So you couldn't really take him seriously. Was Tony like Bobby Tyrone? She wasn't sure she'd want somebody like that taking care of her. She wasn't sure she could trust somebody like that. "Now," Dr. Landra said after clearing his throat with a lowering in his voice and restored lost authority, "Maria has a VSD. That was an asymptomatic goal just until recently. Maria?" "Yes, sir." "When did your VSD start manifesting symptoms?" "What?" Tony jumped in. Bob. Bob means whenever you start feeling short of breath, like playing hard. Tony, would you, please... Oh, sorry, Bob. I'll be quiet. Thank you. Dr. Landra turned to Maria and cleared his throat again. She wondered if he needed a glass of water. "So, Maria, when did you start feeling short of breath?" "After, exercising." "In the gym class," Maria answered. "It was volleyball last winter. I got really tired and had to stop playing in the middle of the game." "Aha, the winter." Dr. Landra nodded solemnly. He shifted his weight, and Maria thought of a jellyfish that she once poked with a stick at a beach. And this was just about the same time that the URI started up? Maria just shrugged. What? Why did the doctors have to talk like this anyways? Would it be such a big deal if she understood what they were saying? She looked to Tony for translation, but he was too busy reading over Dr. Landra's shoulders to notice her. "Oh, wow," he said, his eyes lit up. "A VSD? Hey, this is my first VSD. Great!" Dr. Landra turned to Tony to confer on Maria's case, and they talked as if she was no longer in the room. "It's pretty straightforward. Ventricle, septal, deperfect," Dr. Landra said. "Nothing fancy or unexpected. See, here's the results of the catch they did last month. Angiogram. Right. You see right here, no surprises. It's moderately large VSD located in the membranous portion of the ventricle septum, close to the bundle of the HIS and below the aortic valve. Yep, just where you expect to find it. Yep, just like I said, no surprises. It appears that there is significant pulmonary hypertension to warrant the recommendation of a patch closure surgery. A hypertrophy of the heart chambers? Nothing significant, but of course, there's always a possibility of the bioventricle hypertrophy in cases like this. Really? Dr. Landra and Tony turned to Maria and smiled. They weren't so much smiling at her as they were themselves at how much they knew. Maria wanted to ask them to explain what they had said, but she was afraid they'd answer with the same technical language, and she'd be even more confused as ever. Tony winked at her. He was big on winking, Maria thought. Maybe that would be his specialty when he grew up. He said, in Italian. It's no problem, don't worry. Dr. Tony, said Maria, I don't understand Italian. Could you please explain in English? Sure, Tony said. It's no big thing. It was all I was saying. You got a little hole in your heart, that's all. Some of the blood is going the wrong way, and now we're gonna do this. Sew a patch over it, and you'll be as good as new, Dr. Landra continued. Right. Better even. Maria started to ask if that meant they were going to give her a dead person's heart, but a new voice dropped in. Landra of Facati, big powwow at the nurse's station, on the double. Okay, Ween, we'll be right there, Tony answered. Ween came into the room. She wore a dirty white uniform like Dr. Landra, a stethoscope draped around her neck, falling over her shoulders, and a long black hair was tied back in a ponytail. Maria guessed that she was a doctor, too. Hi, kid, how are you? Dr. Ween asked. She was direct, but not unfriendly. Maria? VSD, Tony added. Hi, Maria, VSD. Dr. Ween extended her hand. Maria had never shaken hands with a woman before. It felt funny, but she liked it. I'm Sarah, VTI. What's VTI? Maria asked. Sarah Ween answered playfully. Very tired intern. What's an intern? Dr. Landra said. A doctor who was always very tired. He and Dr. Ween laughed, so Maria figured they must both be interns. She checked Dr. Ween's feet, dirty white clogs. No question about it, there was something to this shoe theory of hers. Okay, Maria VSD, Sarah VTI said then. I've got to take these so-called doctors from you for a big meeting. Don't worry, though. You'll see them again. They love hanging out with pretty girls. Maria smiled. As they left, Sarah introduced herself to Carlo and Miss Tyrone. From the hall, Maria heard them say, Nice kid. Sarah Ween's voice went on, Oh, here comes trouble with a capital T. A moment later, Trouble poked her head in the door. Hi, I'm Linda, she said the tall blonde girl in the Snoopy nightshirt. I'm your roommate. Linda's thick rubber claws flapped noisily against the floor as she moved towards Maria's bed. She sat in the same spot that Dr. Landra had vacated moments before. You ever been here? She asked Maria. Just once about a month ago. I had a cardiac catheterization done. Oh, so you were only in here for a few days or two. That hardly counts. How did you know how long I was in? I know all about cardiac cats. I know everything. Believe me, kid, I've been around. Carlo laughed and said, Seen it all, huh? Linda smiled in return. She had a pretty smile, Maria thought. Yeah, you could say that. Then, a nod towards Carlo, she asked Maria, Is this your brother, He looks like John Travolta, Linda said. Oh, great, Maria thought. A new recruit for Carlo Tyrone's See Him and Swoon Club. Miss Tyrone stood then. Carlo, come, let's go get some coffee downstairs, and Maria and her new friend can get to know each other. Is that okay with you? Carlo asked, raising. We'll stay if you want us to. No, go ahead. At another time, she might have wanted her brother and mother to stay, but not now. She was curious about Linda and wanted to find out what she meant about having been around. After Carlo and Tyrone left, Linda grabbed Maria by the hand and said, Come on, I'll give you a tour. You can meet some of the other kids. Hey, what's your name anyways? Maria told her as she slipped on her scuffs, which were lying on the floor by the bed. How old are you? Linda asked. 11. Me too! What are you in for? I have VSD, a hole in my heart, Maria answered. Yeah, I know what VSD is. I knew another kid once who had one. Of course, she was a lot younger than you." "Oh, yeah?" Maria asked, but Linda didn't respond. Slowly, they walked down the hall. Maria peeked into a rooms they passed, trying to catch a glimpse of whoever was inside. Many were empty. "What about you?" she asked Linda. "What about me? What are you in for?" "Oh, sis." "What are they?" "They're these growths that I get inside of me that have to be cut out. I have a whole bunch of them removed." "Yeah, you've been in the hospital before." "Sure, lots of times. I told you I've been around, didn't I?" You had an operation?" "Yeah," she answered with a shrug. "Of course. A ton of them." "Do they scare you?" Sometimes I vomit afterwards. That's the only part I hate. Listen, you don't want to hear about my operations." "Sure I do," Maria started to say, but Linda cut her off. "Stay here," she said. "I'll be right back. I want you to meet somebody." She disappeared suddenly into a room, returning a moment later with a girl in a wheelchair. The girl's leg was in a cast extended out in front of her, a pale blonde as Linda was. This girl's skin and hair were deep black. The two girls looked like salt and pepper, Maria thought, but she'd keep that thought to herself. "This is Bonnie. She's 12. Linda said by the way of introduction. "Hi, I'm Maria." "I know," Bonnie said in a husky voice that seemed much older than hers. "Linda told me. You got a hole in your heart, huh?" "Yep." Bonnie shook her head. "Tough luck. All I got is a dumb old broken leg." "Oh, geez, is that all?" Linda quipped. "Would you be better if I broke the other one for you?" "Aha," Bonnie answered. How'd it happen?" Maria asked. I got hit by a car while I was riding my bike. Lucky for me, the car was going pretty slow. Otherwise, I might have been pushing up daisies instead of wheeling around in this here Cadillac." Bonnie patted her wheelchair affectionately. "Pretty soon, I'll be up and walking. Miss Lebwitz, Judy. You met her yet?" "I don't think so," Maria answered. She'd met a lot of people that day, and many of them hadn't told her names, so she wasn't really sure. "Well, she's the PT, the physical therapist, and she says I'll be walking on crutches real soon." "Uh-huh. And then, Lord help us all." Maria looked up to see Miss Fielding walking by. She must have had antenna ears, Maria thought. Miss Fielding muttered, shaking her head. "Get out of the way, world. When this chillin' is up on the crutches, she got a lot of getting on to get on. And, you just be watching out, world." She chuckled, getting her way around the corner and out of sight. Bonnie laughed. "That nurse is something else." "She's a real turkey, if you ask me," said Linda. "Always blurting in with her opinions when nobody asks." Maria joined in. "I called her Got-a-lotta," she said. "Got-a-lotta?" Linda said, laughing. "Why did you think of that?" "Yeah," said Bonnie. We got names for just about everyone here. We never came up with one for Miss Fielding. Got-a-lotta, huh? That's perfect. Listen," Linda whispered. "Miss Fielding, Got-a-lotta, is nothing compared to my Mrs. Sylvester. She's the head nurse." And Bonnie interrupted. "We'll call her